Hi everyone, good evening to all. We'll start our session. So today I'm going to discuss on the topic named use cases of data science in retail domain. Okay, so I'll just give you a brief introduction about Micronet. This online webinar is being organized by Micronet IT Solutions. Micronet is IT solutions provider. Micronet was founded in 1999 by a group of professionals with technical and domain expertise exceeding 18 plus years, and now an experienced and robust team of efficient people are serving its clients across the globe. It is one of the best company in US. So you can follow Micronet social network like website, Facebook page, and LinkedIn page. We also have a Google form. So requesting all the audience to fill out the Google form so that you can get access to the recorder, webinar, and also slides used in the presentation. So don't miss out to fill the form. So before getting into the today's session, I want this session to be as interactive as possible. So I'll keep asking the questions, and audience, you can speak or you can write the answers in the chat box so that I can read out. Okay, so let's get started. So, yes. Anyone can estimate what is the total size of retail industry in India in value? There is problem with screen sharing. Just a minute. So the overall retail market is set to cross around $1.75 trillion by 2026. So that is a very huge market for retail industry in India. And if you see total number of retail stores in India are around supermarkets, it will be around 10,000 plus. And if you count Kirana stores, it will be around 12 million plus Kirana stores. So that's the very huge market in India. And if you see the GDP rate, retailing in India is one of the pillars of its economy and accounts for 10% of the GDP. So that's how the Indian market is, and it is estimated to be around 600 US billion dollars as of now, and it is going to become 1.75 by end of the 2026. So that's the very huge, and you can see the major investors like Adidas, Amazon, Decathlon, IKEA, Marks, Nike, Walmart. These are the huge investors in Indian market, and you can see the emerging cities coming up in India. There are more than 50 emerging cities in the past 5 years were accounted to open 1,000 plus uh, retail stores in India. It's a very huge market. So I'm going to discuss broadly the use cases of data science in retail domain and intro about the each use case. So these are the six use cases which I'm going to talk about. One is customer segmentation, forecasting, price optimization, recommendation engine, market basket analysis, and location of new stores. So customer segmentation. Customer segmentation enables the segmenting their customers based on the different purchasing behaviors or patterns, identifying the customers' sentiments based on those. Many industries and many retail stores segment their customers into different clusters so that they can effectively market uh, uh, the customers. This market segmentation based on the demographic, geographic, psychographic profile or values, attitudes, some shopping habits, brand preferences, analysis of needs. So based on the different types of purchasing behaviors, all these things they classify the customers, and based on the customers classification they group them into different clusters so that they can effectively target that particular customers. So these are some of the benefits of customer segmentation, like targeting particular group of customers based on their interest. And another is the launching of features aligning with customer demand. Based on the demand what customer buys, you can directly recommend those kind of products to that particular customers. And it is a roadmap for the developing a new product. So when you analyze what the most or huge group of customers like that product, so you can develop such kind of products, you can do research and you can better launch such kind of products. And it helps in building loyal relationships, and it also helps pricing the products differently based on the customer demand. If the customers are liking so much, even if you increase the price, the customers will keep purchasing. So this is the one advantage. And identifying the most and least profitable customers. So when you identify particular kind of customers who are profitable and least, you can give such kind of promotions to them. And developing better products and customizing products or services like that, and personalizing marketing as well. Now we can see the different data requirements we use in customer segmentation and methods. So when you want to do customer segmentation, you need data requirements like this demographics, lifestyle, activities, interest of the customers, and customer behavioral and their purchase preferences, how frequently they purchase, and what kind of products they purchase, and attitudinal. And they have different methods as well to actually do the customer segmentation. One is the RFM. It is the recency frequency monitoring. So recency is like how recently he purchasing, how much when you see the today and how much recently he purchased within a week or within a month or within days. And frequency resembles in a month or in a week how many times he is frequently visiting the store. And monetary is like how much value the customer is bringing to the store, so how much value or the wallet he is spending. So based on these three things you try to classify or group the customers. And we have some algorithms which we can do the customer segmentation, like cluster analysis, k-means clustering, and the tree analysis, customer sentiment analysis, and some neural networks as well. So these are the things you can use, methods you can use to build up the customer segmentation algorithms, and you can classify them as well. So next is the forecasting. So forecasting is the process of making predictions of the future based on the past or historical values. So demand forecasting is combination of two words like demand and another is forecasting. Forecasting means making an estimation in the present for a future occurring event. Therefore, in simple words, we can say that gathering information about the various aspects of market and demand based on the past, an attempt may be made to estimate the future demand. This concept is called the forecasting. Like for example, we sold 200 units or 250 units, 300 units in the past 3 months. Then you may expect how much I can sold in the next month. This can be a target, or you can estimate based on this. You can uh, or optimize your supply chain inventory. You can reduce the cost, and many of these things are becoming a benefits for this. So demand is the most important aspect for the business for achieving its objectives. You can see some of the benefits like you want to forecast for seasonal and non-seasonal. There may be different. So for all of this, for all of these things, you can use the demand forecasting. So you can see the benefits: supply chain optimization, waste reduction. So waste reduction, you may see the some of the items have the expiry date. So if you don't forecast properly, then the expiry date may get expired and it may lead to wastage. It will be a lot of loss to the company as well. So with the forecasting, you can reduce the wastage and you can demand planning. So when you demand properly, you'll not have a stock out, so that all the customers can buy all the items. And you can set the goals or you can put the target. Like in this next 1 month, I can I have a target of selling 1 lakh items or 2 lakh items, and you can plan accordingly, and you can maintain the inventory, inventory at that level, and you can allocate the budget as such way that uh, the cash flow is not get disturbed. So these are the main benefits of the forecasting. And you can use different algorithms like linear regression, ARIMA, SARIMA, Holzwinter, Perfect, TBATS, Varimax, LSTM, and many more. These are the different algorithms we use in demand forecasting. And apart from this, many cloud services are providing easy forecasting where you no need to do any implementation of the code. Like you can use AWS, Azure, many of the cloud services they have directly given the algorithms. So these are the some of the benefits and methods we can use for the forecasting. So next comes the recommendation engine. So the recommendation engine is a like very necessity for the retail industry. So what makes a retail recommendation engine most valuable to the retail industry is that shopping is a necessity for every human being, and everyone shop. It doesn't see how much we are purchasing and all. We like to shop, and many people tend to buy different products. So based on the product you purchase, we recommend a set of products to that customer. So this is called the recommendation engine. So recommendation engine benefits are like improving the cart value. One time, it is kind of one time setup where you no need to invest much. It is one time investment. You once invest, then every time you can uh, do, and it can be learnt from the historical and the present and the future. Based on all these things, it will act. That's the benefit of the recommendation engine. And it increases the product reach and improved engagement and delight. Visitor cold start and product cold start. So these two, visitor cold start and product cold start, are like new terms you may be hearing. I'll explain you a little deeper. So visitor cold start is like first time visitor. So someone who is visiting first time to the store or online website anywhere. So he doesn't know what to purchase. So this recommendation engine based on the items, the most valued items different customers purchase, it will recommend to the cold start visitors, the visitors who are first coming. And also the product cold start means the product first time it was launched. So we'll identify different properties based on the product, and we'll recommend to particular customers who purchased attributes with this particular product, so that the product can be launched properly, and they can have the best sales. This is one of the usage of the product cold start using the recommendation engine. So if you see the real world applications today, we have online shoppers get recommendations like Amazon. If you open Amazon website, you will see some of the recommendation products based on your previous purchases and all. Similarly, we have movie recommendations like Netflix and like Spotify, and video recommendations like YouTube and all. So these are the some of the useful examples of recommendation engine. So you can see that the recommendation engine can deliver 5 to 8 times of the rate of invest on marketing spend. All the marketing spend which you do, you'll get the best benefit from the recommendation engines, and you can improve the sales by 10% or more. So such is the benefit of recommendation engine, and it is a one-time setup only. If you just have to have one-time setup, and it will learn from present, past, and future as well, and it will keep updating them itself. And there are different methods used in the recommendation engine, like you can see collaborative filtering and content-based filtering and hybrid recommendation system. So collaborative filtering is like user to user collaborative filtering. So like uh, some user purchases some item or some books he read. So it will find the similar user who read the same book and recommend the books are the items used by other user. So this is a user based recommendations system works. And similarly item and content based filtering will happen based on the attributes of the item. Suppose a customer purchased an item, and that item has some attributes, and similar attributes of item being purchased by another customer. then these items will be recommended to that particular customer. So this is how the content based filtering will work. And some of the methods used in content based filtering are like cosine similarity, top n approach, rating scale approach, and Euclidean distance. And if when you comes to hybrid recommendation system, it is a mixture of both collaborative filtering and content based filtering. Nowadays most of the retail industries use this hybrid recommendation system than the other two, because it has both methods involved, and it is the best use, and it can deliver you the 5 to 8% of the rate of interest investment. And next is market basket analysis. So this is a very important analysis in the retail industry. I'll give some examples of the market basket analysis. Like uh, if someone buys a sandwich, they are more likely to buy a drink than someone who did not buy a sandwich. So that whenever a person is selling sandwich, they can adopt the selling of Pepsi, Coca-Cola, or some drinks, so that they can purchase sandwich and as well as other drinks as well, so that their sales can be increased and all. So another such example we have, like if you purchase a smartphone on online website, then you'll see recommending products like the screen protectors, USB devices or chargers, and screen cases like this. So whenever you purchase mobile, you'll get these products recommended, because many of the people purchase those products are in the same cart value in the when they're purchasing the mobile. So this is how market basket analysis is used. And I'll give another example. Uh, like if you see many people who tend to buy milk in the supermarkets, they also try to buy butter or bread. But you don't see people putting these two things, bread and milk, in one place, because they know they'll put milk in starting or end and bread in the starting, so that you'll travel from starting till end of the store, so that you can purchase the items present in between the store, walking from starting the store to the end of the store. So this is the some tactics retail industry plays. So I'll give some benefits using the basket analysis. Like it can predict the choices of the customers. Like it it matches the similar products or different products being purchased at the same time. So that is based on that particular thing, it will recommend that particular products in the cart, and it will also target the right customers for the advertisement. So those who purchase milk and butter, bread, so they'll recommend eggs for the 50% offer or something like that, so that they can sell out. And also the arrangement of items. So if you see some store or go to visit the supermarket, you will see the different layouts in the store. So some items being kept in the front, some items kept at the billing counter, and some items at the end of the store, so that you will travel all the shelves in the store, so that you can purchase many other items and get attracted to them and all. So these are the some of the benefits of the market basket analysis. And when it comes to pricing optimization, this is also one of the very important thing in the retail industry. So when it comes to price optimization, the main goal of the price optimization is to find the perfect balance of the profit and value. So why this pricing is most important, I'll tell you. Like, did you notice sometime you visit some store and you want to purchase something and you see that item but you don't purchase? Instead you'll return back and you'll go to some other store and you'll purchase, because you feel that you found some better deal or some better price of that item in some different store. So that's why this pricing is very important for the retail industry. So they will have the four different varieties to determine the price. You can see initial price, best price, discount price, promotional price. So based on these prices, the can attract the more customers, and they can retain the existing customers. And without even marketing, by word of mouth, the store's brand name will get spread. This much usage is there by being using of the pricing optimization. So some of the benefits you can see: customers likely to buy the product and increasing their revenue, increasing in customer base and retaining of existing customers, brand marketing by word of mouth. These all of the some of the benefits using the pricing optimization retail industry. And what kind of factors we consider in the price optimization is like competition and how many stores nearby the nearby our store was present, and what is the weather condition and season, special events, holidays, and some of the macroeconomical variables, operating cost, warehouse information. These all things will be used in the price optimization algorithms and all. And next comes the new location identification. A location analysis or a retail site selection study evaluates the potential opportunity for a specific site. So you may see some stores present side by side, but only one store gets more customers and more people, and they have the more sales and all. Why? Because the location matters a lot. What kind of location it is, whether it is visible to from the main road or not, and what is the parking space nearby. So all these things will be considered in the identifying the new location. There are the some of the benefits listed out here, like reducing the risk of loss, because when you identify the right store, you'll have the right set of people, right set of the customers, and you have the rate of invest can be predicted easily, and you can target right customers as well. So some, if you see in your store you are selling some items at 10 rupees or 15 rupees, but the customers located in that area are ready to purchase only those items which are 5 rupees to 10 rupees, then obviously you will lose out the revenue and you will may get into loss. So whenever you're identifying the new store, you will identify right set of people whom you are targeting, and what is their wallet share, and how much they can spend, and what kind of people they are living there, and they are business class people or the employees. So all these things you will consider, and based on that you will going to open the retail store. And if you see some of the methods used in the retail industries application is like geospatial analysis. You can see the graph image which is presented here. It is showing new site, sister site, and competitor site. So based on all these different variables, we'll try to figure it out the right location where we can open the new store. You can use the regression techniques and clustering the areas based on the variables. So all these things you can use and you can make it up. So I should tell first the identifying the location comes into the picture, and then you will go to the pricing optimization, and then you will go to the forecasting of the sales, and then you will try to recommend the products and use the market basket analysis, and then you will use the customer segmentation. So this is how the whole flow goes into the retail industry. So anyone has any doubts till now, you can ask, you can put in the chat box. So one more thing, we have a WhatsApp group where we are trying to share all the learnings from the different technologies, different services as well. So if you would like to join that WhatsApp group and want to learn, you can learn from the you can join or be participant in the WhatsApp group, and you can learn many things. So we'll request you to join our WhatsApp group as well. So so Kishore is asking what is the risk of loss. So when you identify a proper store, so you will have the reduction of risking yourself getting into the loss, because already you know the customers are wallet share, how much they can spend and all. So based on that people trend and how much their income is based, and based on that you are going to identify and you are going to open the store. So based on that's why you can uh, relieved from the getting into loss. And Ankita was asking what technology should use to pursue data science. So I actually data science is not just a technology. Data science is a analytics, and it solves almost any problem using the analytics. And for to do that analytics, you'll use some technologies like Python and some machine learning, statistics, and databases, and for visualization, Tableau, and all these things. So these all things come together, you can put as a data science technology. But I will tell you, the problem solving is the best part of data science, how you think about solving the problem analytically, and that comes first in the data science. When that gets over, then you'll come into the technology, what technology I should use to achieve this problem or to solve this problem. Ankita, did I answer your question? Okay. And Kishore is asking recommendation works in retail industry. Uh, I'll just go back to that slide. Yeah. So recommendation engine works like if you see some examples in Amazon or Flipkart, when you purchase some item, like I said example of mobile phone. So whenever people purchase mobile phone, they are going to obviously purchase the mobile screen protector and all these things. So based whenever the new customer comes in, and when try to purchase that mobile phone, this recommendation engine automatically recommends the products with that screen card protector and other things with that similar price tag also. It doesn't mean that the mobile phone is 5,000 and the screen protector is 700, 800 and all. Based on the even mobile price and other things, this recommendation engine provides the recommended products as well. So that's the main benefit of the recommendation engine, and so that you will have the sales of the mobile and also sales of the other items. Anything else, Kishore? Yeah. So Kishore is asking what is sentiment analysis. Like sentiment analysis comes usage like what a customer is thinking about our store. Like if you see, many people give review of the review about the product after they purchase. So this sentiment analysis will work identifying the reviews of the customer and tag it best review, bad or good review, so that they can improve their product. So that is what the main importance of the sentiment analysis, and it also addresses the issues of the customer. So where they are facing the issue with the product and what is the issue, and they can solve it and they can improve the better product. Okay, and Stream is asking what input data is needed for new location identification or a single location. So when you want to identify a new location, there are 100 plus variables we think of, like which we'll think of like what kind of customers we are going to target, and what is the market value in that area, and what is the flow of the people in the city, and nearby railway stations are there, or what is the momentum of the people, and what are the obstructions or industries warehouses nearby located, so that they'll not get disturbed with the people movement. And you will see some highways, you will see the market share and see the income of the people, and you will be considering the nearby IT industries. So you will target all these kind of different variables, and you will be using all these variables into the model. And after identifying these kind of models, you can use some of the different methods like PCA to reduce the dimensionality reduction, and then come up with the regression or classification models. Regression to predict the success, and classification to identify similar kind of locations where you can identify new stores. I hope I had answered your question. Any other questions? So Kishore was asking what is churn analysis. Churn analysis is similar to the recommendation engine and the market basket analysis. It is a mixture of all these things, where where you try to find out the right customers, so that your marketing spends or advertisement, all these money get minimal, and you can have a more revenue and all, because you are targeting right customers. This is what churn analysis actually does. And when it comes to supply chain optimization, uh, based on the demand forecasting, you can optimize supply chain, so that sorry. Okay, based on that demand forecasting, you can optimize the supply chain. When you have the right quantity or right demand is forecasted, then you know this much of the quantity you needed on this particular day. So obviously you will have the supply chain already arranged in such a way, so that you have minimum number of transportation, minimum number of up and down of the vehicles, transport vehicles and all. So by this you can minimize the inventory cost and transportation cost and supply chain cost. Okay. Any other questions, please? Okay, Femi is asking, do we need data about success of other stores across all areas to perform? Uh, Obviously, we need the success of other stores, or at least to some extent. Otherwise, we can't have the right threshold set to open the new stores. And how we can get such data is, there are different vendors in the market, they are available. So we many such retailers, they purchase that information from different vendors and try to use that. And what is elasticity of demand? Elasticity of demand is nothing but the pricing optimization, which I spoke about. So if you see, when demand is increasing, you may increase the price as well, still the people will try to purchase it. But when demand is decreasing, you have to clear out your inventory, and you have to remove the stock and introduce new stock. You have to reduce the price, and you will give some offers, 50% off and other things, so that inventory get cleared up and all. So this is how the elasticity of demand get works. And Rajeshwari is asking WhatsApp group link. Can anyone please share the WhatsApp group link again, so that they can also learn many different technologies? Yeah. So I hope I answered everyone's question. Any more left? Okay. Uh, and I suggest everyone to fill up this feedback form, and you can also try to visit the KT Experts Facebook link, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all these links. You can go through that. And Rajeshwari is asking, uh, also, do a data scientist perform the task of data engineer? What is the difference? Okay. So, data scientist work starts once you have the right data. So you'll ask whatever questions you require, you may ask to the client to get the right data. But the data engineer is a different role, for completely different role from the data scientist. So data engineer is what he does in the real scenario is like, he may design the right databases or right uh, services where he can store the data, or he even uses the scraping of the data from different websites and get stored in the databases and other things. But data science is completely different, where you try to solve the real time problems of the industry by using your analytical skills. And to do that, you may use different technologies like Python, Tableau, databases, and machine learning algorithms, artificial intelligence, and all. And I'll just give you a recap of recommendation engine. So many people are asking what is collaborative and content based filtering. So collaborative filtering is like sorry. So when a person reads a particular kind of book and another person also read same book, then the person A has read two other books. So these two other books will get recommended to the another person called B who read same book read by person A. This is how the collaborative filtering works. But when it comes to content based filtering, it sees the attributes of the book. Like it is what we can say, it is a romantic kind of book or horror book or the uh, action book or something kind of thing. These are the attributes of the book, and some of the based on these attributes, it will try to recommend the product or some other books to the other users. Like some user read products related to the action, then the other books which are related to the action will get recommended to that particular people. This is how the content based and the collaborative based filtering works. Any more questions? Okay, Rajeshwari is asking, do we get raw data or filtered data? So actually, in any data science use case or any project you take up in data science, obviously you will not get any filtered data and all. You will have a different data, and you will have multiple data, multiple CSV files or multiple databases everywhere. You have to get all this raw data, and then you have to do data pre-processing, data cleaning, all these things to get the final filtered data. Here, the data engineer may come into the picture where he can deal with different kinds of data and data scrapping and all these things, and he'll give the final data to the data science team where they can use as well. Okay, I hope I answered all the questions. Any more questions left out? Okay, I think we had a good session where we have learned many things regarding retail industry and all. I thank each and every participant who attended this session, and there will be many more sessions lined up in different technologies. So please do attend and learn as much as you can, and you can develop your career. And Rajeshwar is asking, can you explain little bit on building pipelines? Okay, so when it comes to the building pipelines, pipeline is nothing but the connecting different datas and making one single data file where you can use for the model building. So you may get some data from the different databases, and some data you may get the from scrapping from websites, and some data you get may from IoT sensors and all. So you build a pipeline where all this data gets connected in single pipeline, and then it get transformed with different operations on data cleaning and other things, and you will get the final data. So this is how the data pipeline works. Rajeshwari, did I answer your question? Okay, thanks. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, we can end up this session. Okay, thanks to the participants. Thanks for everyone for joining this wonderful session.